Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 49 of the Run to Hills podcast. This week, we've got Hannah Bazley back on the show. It's great to have Hannah back on the show after a successful Lakeland 50. Well done, Hannah, and well done, Edwina, for being a super coach. I'm really looking forward to hearing all about it, actually. The good, the bad, and the ugly. But first, our human sat-nav, Edwina's son. I'm just glad I must send
you the video of when I've got this lovely WhatsApp group with all my running mates around here, and we backtracked. I can't send you. I'll tell you that story in a minute. Anyway, for anybody that doesn't know, I'm laughing because I did my trail race in the worst mountain conditions I've ever raced in. Kept my vest on though, Gary. None of that raincoat on. I was the only one on the start line in a vest.
Hard as nails.
I was like, you'll all be taking your jacket off because it goes straight up. It was basically a 2-hour climb straight up. No one took the jackets off. I was a little bit. You had to keep it was the hiking that gave me the chills. Anyway, yeah. To cut a long story short, I ended up the wrong side of the mountain in a different town.
Oh my goodness, right. This is live reaction, listeners. I've not had the details yet.
We have to laugh because otherwise I'd cry. Everything had gone so well. The week leading up to the race, I think we spoke quite early on in the week. I had a single parenting week, which was hard. It's really hard. And then one of the kids got food poisoning.
Oh my goodness.
So I had 2 nights of no sleep, a lot of vomit, a really high temperature as well. So not just a sick child, a real proper sick child.
Yeah. Oh.
So that actually, normally my sick children, I'm like, yeah, you're fine. Yeah. Do you want to come to bed? You're right. But this one was proper ill. So I actually had to do some mothering.
Oh.
But so I was really tired. But the rest of the week had gone, I'd managed. One of my mates was like, all I see is like 20 minutes on Strava. Then like 2 hours later, another 20 minutes. I'm like, well, every slot I get when they're doing like a swim lesson or a little bit of football or something, I'm like, right, I'm just going to do this. You keep doing that. But my week had gone really well training wise. I felt quite good. And I'd made a few more little plans about the race, how I was going to handle it. But what I hadn't done, and this was in my debrief with my husband last night, was I hadn't really checked the route.
The map.
I've done the race before, and I don't know if you do this or anybody listening to this, but when you've done a route before, like childbirth, you only remember the good bits. There were huge chunks when I was like, no, it's a different course. I don't remember any of this. Anyway, so it started at 8:00 in the morning in torrential rain.
Oh.
But me and my mate who were doing it, we're British. We're the only British people on the start. We wear our vests.
Cold rain or hot rain, there's different types.
It wasn't even like summer rain. It was like low, dense fog, really, really wet. I was like, we'll be all right. And I was actually fine, apart from right at the top. It went up to about 2,200 meters, so not insanely high for around here. Just at that top bit,
yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, let's get off this now.
It's fresh.
But it was fresh. But yeah, I was like, right, I'm going to start a little bit further back in the field. So I'm going to make myself feel really good because I'm going to pass people rather than starting in the front and then just slowly people overtaking me. So started sort of halfway down the field and we went up through town and I was like, just jog comfy, keep running, and people start hiking. And I've been really working on, as you know, I've been really working on uphill speed. Yeah. So I carried on running. And I was like, let's keep that heart rate down, keep the breathing down, keep the other gear back. So it was really good. I was like, just head down, laser focused on myself, positive thoughts, and work your way up. It's really, really long climb. 1,400 meters, I think it is. Ooh, over what? Okay. Oh, it's probably over about 11 or 12K.
Okay.
So they're really steep, a little bit of running, drop down, not quite, loads of different terrain, rain like in your eyeballs rain. It was just so muddy. Anyway, I managed, I feel good. I got up to the first like guy and I was like, I didn't really want to know where I was in the field. And he's like, troisième fille. So I was like, okay, well, thanks. I'm in third. And then I could see second all the time. I was like, Joe, patience, steady, you'll get her. And then every time it was really steep, I couldn't catch her. And then any bit of running or any bit of downhill, I could get on her tail. I was like, right, I know at the top of this climb, it goes a really, really long runnable descent.
Yeah.
I was like, I could say, get there.
Yeah.
You're going to get it. 8K running downhill. That was going to get me. Anyway, we got to the last checkpoint at the top. And 4 gels, like a dream, felt good. I've been running really strong. I'd actually stopped and started hiking before I needed to because everyone was hiking and I was still running. And I was like, what should I do?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm going to hike. Everyone's going to hike. Still need to work on my steep uphill hiking. It's just painful watching. I'm like, don't go anywhere. Anyway, hit the downhill, the worst mud I've ever run in my life. It was like a gorse bush mud track, so you couldn't see where your feet were. It was so muddy. In the end, you know, I think it's in Gloucester, they do like a cheese rolling competition.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. It's fantastic.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, imagine that, and that's us coming down. Everybody just was like, "There's nowhere to go." They literally just rolled down anywhere you could. It was hilarious. It didn't really hurt because it was muddy, but I came out like covered head to toe in mud. Couple more steep little uphills again, which I'd forgotten. I was like, no, this is a new course. This didn't happen. The mist and the fog, the cloud was so low, you could probably see Viz was about like 10, 15 meters ahead of you.
Wow.
You could see this girl in front of me, yellow jacket, kept coming back to me. We got to the top, we started the run down, overtook this girl. I'm on it behind this guy, and I was like, I'm just going to follow this guy. He was picking like a really nice line. I was totally like focused. Anyway, down to the first, took this track down. I was like, oh, I don't remember this rocky bit. Oh, no. But then again, I didn't remember. Look, it was all right, carry on, running. And he suddenly stopped and was like, we've gone wrong. I was like, no, we haven't. No, it's straight. No, continue. Sit down. Carried on. Yeah, no, when you just know you're not on the race course suddenly, because if you stop within a minute, someone will appear, even though you feel like you're all on your own. Anyway, we stopped and nobody appeared. We'd gone down on my Strava. I think I'd gone down 300 meters.
Oh, that's a long way.
It's a long way. I was like, then human sat nav, I was like, I think if we cut across, we'll meet the trail coming down and we might be able to get back on the course. No, I cut across to the wrong direction.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, right was finished, left, I carried on. So I got my phone out to try and find myself on a map, but there was no 4G. It was so rainy, the screen didn't work anyway. I started getting so cold I couldn't even use the screen. Anyway, I decided I've got another bigger race next weekend, which I thought was on Sunday, but actually is on Saturday. This is a comedy now. So I was like, do you know what? I'm not gonna go back up there. Even if I walk back up, then I'm adding an extra hour on my legs. Anyway, I should have walked back up because it took me like an hour to then cut across to get back down. But you know what? I just didn't make right. I made some really terrible decisions. Anyway, I ended up running along this road by myself in the rain. I found the finish.
The violins.
Anyway, a load of people went wrong. Different places.
Oh my goodness.
Lots of different variations on the trail. I think the visibility really threw people on the top of the course, and there were lots of different tracks, and there were people at points, but I think the point where we went wrong, I can't think where we went wrong. We just seemed to lose the racetrack. Anyway, stop as soon as you think you're going wrong. Don't carry on. That's the lesson. Anyway, we finished, and then my mate was doing a 2-day. She'd done a day before, and she was doing the race again that day. And so I then waited for her to finish, and I hadn't thought, again, Eddie, what to do after the race. So I bought like shorts and a vest to put on.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, so cold. Anyway, she absolutely smashed it and she won the double day overall.
Oh, wow.
And so I was super happy. It's nothing like seeing your mates win prizes is almost better than yourself winning prizes. And she'd worked really hard for that. And so that was lovely, but maybe not the 2-hour wait to wait for the prize. Anyway, you live and learn. One day, as Bryn, as everyone knows, says, one day it'll all come together. But it wasn't that time.
But when it does, all these little little stories, they'll be worthwhile and it'll taste even sweeter, won't it?
I had a little cry by myself on the way home. I was like, oh. Yeah. And then I was like, shake it off. You made that decision. You went the wrong way because you were too busy thinking about racing rather than the route. So,
well, you won't be the first person to go the wrong way.
Have you ever gone the wrong way?
Yeah, nothing as spectacular as that, though.
You've never ended up in the wrong town?
No, funny enough, no. I've done really well out of a bunch of people going the wrong way on one of the Hardmoors races. They all took a wrong turn. And I think I jumped about 5 places in the race. And afterwards, Strava used to do a thing called flybys. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Oh, yeah. No, I think they've cut that out because it was a bit dodgy because you could then, if you saw someone you liked, you could then find where they lived and stuff.
Well, I saw the flybys from the race and I could just see all these people go do around this little loop. And then you could see where they realized they'd gone wrong and then went back. But in the meantime, I just went kind of the right way and jumped quite a few places in the race. So I did do quite well out there. But it's so easy. My goodness, Saturday I was on the Bob Graham round and the Clag was down on the fells. And even though we've all been on leg 2 loads of times, before we knew it,
you own a part of it, don't you?
Yeah, I've had a few of the local legends, which is quite weird from someone who's not even local.
But a legend.
Yeah. But it's easy, even on Saturday, just you drift off the path, and then before you know it, you're thinking, where's the path going? Because when you got that visibility so poor, and you just can't see the cairn more than say 20 meters away. So
I lose like I did. I lose directional awareness as well.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, left.
Well, as we drove out the car park after the race, I was like, "Oh, this is the way. It's just left." I've got a really good inbuilt GPS, and then my mate was like, "Oh, Eddie, we're going to Chamonix. We need to turn around." I was like,
"Oh my goodness."
Oh, maybe I trust myself a little bit too much to be a little bit less.
Good to have that confidence. I think
self-confident. I think as well because we were descending, I was much more focused on like, right, stay with this guy, fast feet, let's go, concentrating on the rocks and the mud ahead of me rather than. Anyway, lots of confidence. I've done the race before and I PR'd on every segment on Strava.
Oh, sweet.
So I've got stronger, not slower in my old age 3 years later. So that was good. Felt really good. Gels went down a treat.
Yeah.
Was able to control that pre-race anxiety. And
what's your brand? What's your gel brand? Sponsors,
come on, sponsor me up. I'm a Spring Energy girl, but I'm on my last Spring Energies, to be fair, and they're €3 a pop. So I can't. I'm going to have to go into the kids. In France, they're really the compots. There's little pouches of pureed fruit. They get them. Oh yeah. They hand them out in supermarkets practically for free. They're really popular, and they give those out at races loads. I'm just going to have to start using those. €3 for a gel.
That's a lot of dosh.
That's a lot of money, isn't it? But I do find them good. I can take loads of them. They sit easy on the stomach. Anyway, enough about me. But I'm definitely going to pop something on Facebook this week and say who's gone the wrong way, because I bet there's some funny stories out there. What also I love is when people went totally the wrong way, race was ruined, and they've gone like just 200 meters off the track and then come back on. I will say I have gone wrong in a 50K race before. And started running the course again instead of going to the finish. But if you do go wrong in a race, some top tips: go back, stop, have a snack, always have a snack. Go back to where you last knew. Don't carry on. Take a deep breath and don't panic and don't end up in lactate hell because you're trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Just accept it for what it is. Backtrack to where you knew what you were. and go from there. Don't ring the race director saying you're lost when you're like 200 meters off the route. If you do get lost, try and look for a landmark, which will help somebody locate you, rather than just saying, oh, it's great. I'm in a field and there's a gate and a hedge. And I think the farmers plowed the field. Just go back and just take your time and just use it as a learning experience. And maybe check the route before you do it as well, because even though loads of us went wrong at the race, it's our responsibility to know the route. It's not, and yes, they have to, if they've said they marked a course, but still markings can be moved. The visibility can be really low, etc.
Gotta own it.
Oh, I gotta own it. I've got to own these mistakes. Right, talk me through. Last bit of Bob Graham chat of this year, I promise people.
I think it is. Oh, we were just chatting about this actually. Is anybody else going to do a Bob Graham route in our kind of little circle of friends? And there's one maybe, but he's not committing to it. So I'm not going to put it out there or broadcast it. The pressure will be on. But yes, Sean Kennedy completed. He had his, I think it was a 22-hour schedule, and he smashed it in 20 hours and 23 minutes. Oh my goodness me, he did. It's always a bit of a worry. I was on leg 2 with him, and he had 4 hours for that schedule. And I think we did it in 3 hours 40. So 20 minutes up. And there's the worry that you put like maybe invisible damage, you're damaging your quad. You're fine, but he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And it was fantastic. And, he was chatting all the way. He was eating all the way. He had so much. I think he had 2 liters of fluid that he drank it all. His tailwind, I think he was using. And, he did it. He ran. Sometimes it's quite easy on a Bob Graham to walk some of the bits that maybe you should run.
This is hard. This is that I find that a lot in my races when you're like, people are walking and I'm like, you could run this. And the little voice goes, but it's so much nicer to walk. Just walk. And you're like, turn those bluebirds off. Let's get running.
But it was wicked. He did from the off. He didn't really, brilliant admin. He didn't really stop at Threlkeld. He just moved straight through. Immediately was running. I was thinking, oh, on my Bob, I walk this or something. This is going to be quite an interesting few hours. But he just kept moving. And then when we knew as soon as he started the big climb for Clough Head, we obviously walked that. And then we did, as soon as it was kind of runnable, we started run. But when I say run, we weren't like, flat out. We were just
but it's
moving with purpose.
Yeah, a little bit. I call it the sheepdog trot, that like all day. That you just keep doing little bits of it and you slowly eat away into that time rather than running. But you've got to be strong. You've got to be strong to be able to do those little bits, haven't you?
I think when you've got there was two support runners with him, and we're quite mindful of that. You just keep kind of chipping away, keep pushing on. And before you knew it, we were 20 minutes up on schedule. And then, we're sitting at Dunmail. Before you knew it, we kind of look up and he's pretty much up Stale Fell. So, and then he just looking at his splits all the way, he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I don't think he dropped anything. No dramas from what definitely not on leg 2. The visibility was poor. And we did have a few, not the most ideal lines, but we're okay. And he did it in the club, 20 hours and 23 minutes. So fantastic.
At the Bob Graham dinner this year, there's just basically going to be you and your mates.
It's going to be crazy. Yeah, it's going to be so many people from Northeast going over there. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because, like you said, it's just going to be a bunch of us over there. Hopefully we can get a big table and all together. I will say for some people, if they are thinking of doing a recce of leg 2 and they're going to park at Threlkeld, they put a pay and display machine in. So I don't think people were using the honesty box, Eddie. So,
okay.
So they put in
Fair enough. If you want a bin, you want your car park maintained, then how are your legs? How are you feeling?
All right. Yeah.
You're much more perky this week. You're the perky one this week.
Yeah. Okay. They were tired. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired on Sunday, but that was really because we had I think I was about 5 o'clock in the morning start, and I decided to stay in the Northeast. So that was a 2 a.m. alarm call, and then a drive to Threlkeld. So I was shattered. I'm not young anymore. It's quite hard. And then I wasn't tired like last time we went over there. And I remember Aaron and we pulled over and had a little nap because we were just so tired. It wasn't safe. I wasn't like that. I wasn't kind of nodding off at the wheel or anything. But yeah, just not it's not very nice getting up so early, and it was so dark.
It's not, and it knocks me for like 3 or 4 days really of like just that tiredness. I was just sitting with the kids just then, and they were like, "Can we use your dressing gown cords and play Santa and reindeer?" And I was like, "Yeah, I swear, it's fine. Go and play." And then they said, I could hear, when you know that shouting is going to be screaming. It ended up screaming, and then they said, "Now we're going to play crack the egg on the trampoline." But so I was like, "Okay, yeah, that sounds off the swatch from in here with my tea."
Brilliant. Yeah.
Are you a little bit more running this week, or are you now? Cruising?
Well, I've got 2 weeks. I was going to kind of talk about this, what's coming up, but yeah, a little bit more running, a bit more purpose now. Got a couple of weeks before I start training for Valencia, so I just want to get my body used to running a bit more than what it has been. So yeah, but well done, Sean. It was a real treat being out on the fells again. And yeah, anybody else want a bit of Bob Graham round support? You know where I'm at.
Super support. Oh, a couple of races.
Yes.
One race.
Well, we've got 2. We've got the Hardmoors Farn. Well, there's actually 3 races: the Hardmoors Farndale Marathon Half and the 10K. Take a deep breath. Our friend of the show, Jason Caville, took the win with the marathon of 4 hours and 54 seconds. And Emma Lavelle Wood win for the ladies, 5 hours and 55 seconds.
And the half, Joe Ledley, 2 hours, 8 minutes, 36 seconds. Beth Wilmot, 2 hours, 39, 12 seconds.
And then the 10K, Matthew Downs, 1 hour, 4 minutes and 59 seconds. And Emma Foxley, 1 hour, 20 and 2 seconds. Well done, everybody. I've never done that one, actually. Should do. It's local to me.
Yeah, it's quite a nice little one, that. Pete Bland Memorial Kentmere Horseshoe Fell Race. 12.3 miles?
Yep, 12.3 miles, 3,300 feet.
Exactly 1,000 meters.
Start and finish in Kentmere Village Hall. So that place has had some action over the past week. At least runners.
Oh, all these runners. There's some mud in there. And won by Jacob Adkin, 1 hour, 22, 20 minutes. Whew, it's fast. And 1 hour, 29, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow, that must be fun. Straight up, round, straight back down again?
I think so, yeah. Takes in a few of the like High Street, Kentmere Pike, Ilbell. So yeah, pretty much is a big loop with some nice peaks. So yeah, well done, everybody. Fantastic running.
Now we have a catch-up chat with our coaching client winner, Hannah Bazley, all about her Lakeland 50 adventures. She doesn't need any introduction. She's been on the show heaps, and I know lots of people are waiting to hear how her day panned out. Here we have Hannah Bazley. We are here with Lakeland 50, super duper, not enough words to describe her champion, 50 slayer, Hannah Bazley. She's sitting in her sitting room with the medal wrapped around her neck. Proud as punch. Hannah, huge congratulations. What an achievement. What a day. We can't wait to hear all about it. But first of all, as we start all our interviews, how are you? Where are you? And have you been for a run today?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm generally recovering quite well. Had a few ropey days, but yeah, at home in the living room. The rest of the family are out the house. Did go for a run this morning just before work.
How did that feel? Was that your first run back?
Yeah, it felt fine. I just ran along the canal near work. It was actually a flat area, and I really enjoyed it.
Should we get into the Lakeland 50?
Let's not beat around the bush.
I drove from the northeast to Pooley Bridge, and as I drove past Dalemain, it looked like Glastonbury. How was the start? What was it like? It looked brilliant.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I was on one of the earlier coaches because the briefing, the hall was full, and I couldn't even get onto the live stream of the briefing because the internet wasn't very good. So I was on one of the first coaches. I was sitting around for ages, chatting to people, and then every time a 100 runner came past, they got so much love and cheers, and it was brilliant. yeah, they started off the race and in bits. So it was I think about every 30 seconds a group set off. But there was band and there was
Excellent
rock music playing, and yeah, it was a really good atmosphere. So.
And how did you find the first section? I was bothering people just outside of Pooley Bridge as they kind of started.
Gary, you get arrested for that. You gotta stop.
Well, you were still smiling when I saw you, but it was quite warm already. But yeah, how did you find that? Is it Pooley Bridge to Howtown? What was that like?
It was fine. I mean, it's that circuit around Almain was quite undulating, especially at the start. And then you've got a bit of a climb as you come out of Pooley Bridge. But, compared with the rest of the course, it's not really too challenging. It breaks you in gently.
What was your sort of aim as you went up that first climb? Because I often find when I got those first climbs, they feel harder than they actually are because you sort of finally started. Or was there a real sense of relief that finally something you'd been working towards had started and you were in? There was no way out.
Yeah, no, I was enjoying it. I made sure I paced myself. I'd recce'd that part in a way, so I knew it was a bit of a climb and then sort of a gradual descent really into Howtown. So yeah, I was enjoying it. I was chatting to people. I kept my poles out for the first section. Kept my poles away. They were still on my vest. So yeah, it was good. I think I had one moment where I tripped and then landed quite heavily on my leg, but it was fine. That was about literally the only moment I properly tripped.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Great going on that course.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because I got my poles out after Howtown. So yeah, that's why. Otherwise, I probably would have stacked it like so many people. But yeah, there was a half-hour queue at Howtown to fill up with water.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was crazy.
Why?
They were letting.
Why was there a queue?
I don't know. Yeah, they were letting the 100s runners go past, but all the 50s were queuing up the road around the corner. Some people were jumping in a stream to top up their water, but I didn't really fancy taking a chance. I was just like, you know what?
Hard. Was that COVID because of COVID restrictions or too many people at a checkpoint?
Yeah, it may have been a mixture, really.
That first checkpoint, I marshaled. I was on there a few years ago with when Chia Charge did it, and when the 50 runners come through, it is just like a whirlwind. It's quite. You've got to be like pretty on it to, like you say, fill people's water up and get them out. But I don't remember a queue, so maybe it was a COVID thing as far as kind of how many people could be in there at once. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, it may have been. So yeah, I topped up my water because then that's the thing, because you get into a checkpoint and it's hot and you've got the section all the way to Mardale Head and it's a hot day, so you make sure you drink all your water. So you arrive at the checkpoint, you need your refills.
Yeah.
So yeah, topped up my water, grabbed a flapjack, and then and got going again up Fusedale.
How was that first big climb up? It was hot because you're in the middle of the day as you go up that first big climb, aren't you?
Yeah, it was really hot. There was a stream part way up, and everyone, including myself, was like soaked my buff and doused my head and my back. But there were lots of people that were struggling already just going up that climb.
Yeah.
I just used my poles, just one foot, one pole in front of the other, and just kept moving really. But yeah, it was tough. There were people that I thought were already at the point of wanting to just quit at that point. It was
of the 50.
Yeah, I think there were people really struggling.
Mardale is a big high dropout checkpoint, from what I understand. It's quite popular. Yeah, how did you find the section along the reservoir? That's, from my memory, that's not very runnable underfoot.
Yeah, it's not very nice. I think the first tiny bit of it isn't too bad, and then it's not that place. It's better than when I did the recce when it was really, really wet and horrible. So at least it was dry. Just keep plugging on. I knew what to expect this time. So and I had my poles out, so I just used that just to help me keep upright.
And had it thinned out a bit? Because when I was at Pooley Bridge, it just seemed like this constant wave of people. Had it kind of noticeably thinned out? Because that's pretty much a single track, isn't it, along that section?
Yeah, it did thin out a bit. I overtook occasional people, and I had quite a few people overtaking me who are better at moving quick on that terrain. So yeah, it was gradually thinning out, probably from going up Fusedale onwards, really.
Yeah. Now you've done Mardale, and you've got yourself out of Mardale, which is a big kind of thumbs up for anybody in that heat as well. But yeah, Mardale to Kentmere, again, you're straight into a big climb.
Yeah.
What was that section like?
That's the same. It's almost starting to get a little bit cool already by that point. And that, again, it's just keep trudging up the climb, really. I wasn't looking forward to it because of the terrain, and I wasn't looking forward to coming back down off it either, because it's not that nice. And I was looking forward to having my first bit of Coke in my bottles already at Mardale, and they'd run out, apparently. And I was like, no.
I'd have been raging.
And I was like, I did have this moment of fear. What if they run out of all of the stations? But they hadn't. But yeah, I had soup and crisps and some more.
So how did you cope? Yeah, I was just you substituted it, but I was going to say, like, with the heat as well, how did you find the eating and the drinking? Because I think that threw a lot of people, that your normal things you go to, and then if you do get to checkpoints and they've run out, like my go-to would be Coke. I remember dreaming of Coke around to there. How did the nutrition work out? And
I found it all right. I think I did keep drinking, and I think probably from speaking to other people that had struggled to keep drinking and then struggled to eat, I think I've never had much of a problem with my eating. So it was fine. As I say, I just, whatever I saw that I fancied, I ate. I had a couple of things with me. I think I had a couple of baby food sachets with me, just in case I wanted something a bit more refreshing.
We were talking about this earlier.
We were just talking about that, saying I'm going to branch into those now because I can't afford €3 a gel.
They're just really, I think they taste nice. So I just thought if I fancied something refreshing, I'd have them. And I had a couple of flapjacks with me as well. But yeah, the soup and half a pack of crisps at Mardale Head, and then off up the climb again.
And was everything going down okay? Did you have any food intolerance or?
No, I was fine. I didn't have any troubles at all.
You're making your way towards Ambleside. When did you have to put your head torch on?
That was coming down off, what's the other pass? It was after Kentmere, Garburn Pass.
Yeah,
coming
that's
down.
it.
There are
and
a few people about.
It's dark through there, isn't it, as well?
Yeah. There are a few people about that started putting theirs on, and then obviously when everyone else has got their head torch on, I can still just about see, but you just end up having to put it on. But it's not, says me, like, it's the first time I've actually run through the night.
And how did that feel? Because that's quite magical. Well, I say magical, probably at the time you're like, oh my God, here we go. But I find that quite magical as you go into that. I always play the game. This is not good advice, but I always play the game last one to put the head torch on. I'm not going to put it on yet. I'm not going to. You've all got yours on. I'm not going to put mine on yet. But how did you feel going into your first night running? Excited, scared?
I've actually enjoyed it. I was almost looking forward to it in a way. It was gorgeous sunset, and you see the moon coming up as well in cloud. It was like this big orange moon. I didn't even take a photo of that because it's never looks as good on a camera, like on a phone. So it looked amazing, and it was fine. I mean, there was a bit going through Trout, sort of up through Troutbeck. I turned my torch onto the lowest settings. I didn't really need it. It was on the road, just to save a bit of power. But it was lovely, actually. And there was enough people about still. You weren't ever completely on your own.
And coming down into Ambleside is a huge point in the race where it's really the only bit of civilization in the race, isn't it? Were your family there to see you? And
no, it would have been too late with the kids. So they were all safely tucked up.
But you still feel like a movie star. Did you get a bit emotional as you Gary and I would probably actually, probably as we ran through there. But did you feel quite emotional? Because really, if you make it there, you leave Ambleside.
Yeah,
that's
the thing. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, once you get to Ambleside, it's kind of the last section. Although it's difficult because you think, I've just got to get to Coniston now, and it's still quite a long way at that time. At that point.
Had you had any low points before you got to Ambleside? Because it sounds like you were like really coping well with the nutrition and the heat and stuff. Had you had any like low mental points when you thought, I want to be at home?
I don't think I really did. I can't remember that. I found quite tough to climb. I can't remember what it's called. It's after you've gone over Gatesgarth Pass and come back down, then you've got the other climb before.
It's a sneaky one. It's a sneaky one. Yeah.
I don't remember being that horrible on the rest.
It's quite steep and short, isn't it? And rocky. Yeah.
Yeah, it just felt like it went on longer than I remember on the rest. Although at least at Kentmere they had going back to Kentmere, they had smoothies and pasta and fruit juice. So all went in. That probably helped give me a boost. Kentmere was quite busy. Well, they were all fairly busy, I suppose, but there were no queues after Howtown, so that was good.
Yeah, well, I'm just curious, what was Ambleside like? Because when I was there during the day, it was just chaos. It was so busy. It was so busy with people. But yeah, how was that for you as you passed through Ambleside? Were people still on the streets? And
there were still people about. Didn't think there would be, but there's quite a few people about, and they're all still cheering you as you come past, or they'll come out of a pub or a restaurant and they're cheering you. And
excellent.
So yeah, I was amazed. I thought it'd be a bit of a ghost town by then, but it certainly wasn't.
Cool. So you've left Ambleside, and we did this recce together. We did all the way to Coniston, but on paper, that's arguably a pretty good section of the race if your legs are feeling lucky. You've got a small climb, and then you kind of drop down to Chester's by the river, where I saw you the next day.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, how are you feeling? Could you move well over that section of the course?
I think my legs were pretty tired, to be honest, by then. I think just because I'm not very good at descending, I think my quads were screaming already at that point.
Yeah.
I teamed up. I started chatting to a lady coming out of Ambleside. I sort of got stuck a bit behind. She was talking to a couple of 100 competitors that we'd kind of caught up with. Yeah. And she was talking to one of them for a bit. So I ended up squeezing past, and she actually followed me. So I didn't really do much running until we got to the flat bit after Chester's.
Yeah.
The hill coming down into Chester's. We ran down there.
Yeah.
And then got running through there until we got to that road up to the quarry.
That's quite steep, though. How did your quads feel coming down that hill into Chester's? Were they okay?
Yeah, well, try to ignore it. Yeah, I know it's like 20%, isn't it? So yeah, I was like, come on. A couple other people around me started running. I was like, let's just do it. Just get going down there. Can't think. Yeah, I mean, Chapel Style was amazing. That's a really cool checkpoint.
Big marquee, isn't there?
Yeah, I saw it from quite a way. I thought, that's a marquee. And obviously that's quite runnable along there. And so I started walking just a little bit before it, just to. And there was these inflatable sort of sofas and beds in the corner, and I was looking at those thinking, wouldn't that be nice just to have a little rest?
Yeah.
But yeah. I didn't even sit down at any of the checkpoints apart from for literally a couple of minutes at Tibblethwaite.
Well done. Brilliant.
So let's talk about Tibblethwaite. Last checkpoint, but a heinous climb to come after it. How did you approach that final climb? What and because we think you took this amazing sunrise picture.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of gorgeous. Yeah, it was stunning. I was almost relieved that it was light, so that the descent back off it would be all right.
Yeah. Quite technical, isn't it? Down.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. I mean, the last climb, it's quite steep, but it's quite short, really, compared with the others.
Yeah.
It was fine. But the lady I sort of ended up teaming up with from Ambleside, I think she kept tripping up a bit. Should have had poles. But she properly stacked it coming down that last descent. Okay. She sort of tripped, stumbled, and face planted on the path.
Oh my goodness.
And I thought, oh my God, what she done to herself? But she had blood pouring from her nose and a blood on, she sort of scratched her nose as well, and she just looked a bit dazed. So I passed her some tissues that I had, and she sort of mopped herself up. And I thought, she can be able to even carry on. What do I do?
Yeah. You were like, oh, the finish is just there. Come
on. I know.
I'll see you at the finish. That's what I'd have said.
Yeah, bye. So I waited with her for a bit, and a few other people went past and checked she was all right, and then we just carried on going. but she didn't want to run until we got to actual road surface.
Yeah.
So we walked until we got to the road. And
Oh, what a saint you are, Hannah.
It's lovely, isn't it? Yeah.
I know didn't really cost me any time, to be honest. I wasn't really moving that well anyway.
Many people obviously went past you, and even though, you know, they didn't stop. So that was,
I suppose we'd been together since Ambleside though, so it would have been a bit harsh just to leave.
You'd known that section. We did that as a recce. Do you think knowing what was ahead was a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I had that descent is just horrible, and it was even worse on really tired legs. So yeah, you just got to just pick your way down there.
Yeah. And
then I rang my husband when I got to the bottom, said, I'm approaching, I think I'll be about 10 or 15 minutes. I wasn't even sure how long. So he woke the kids up so they'd be at the finish for me. Which was nice.
And was that the first time you'd called him over the whole race? Or
yeah, it was actually. Yeah. But when I did my first 50k, I called him about 3/4 of the way through, and he said, "What are you calling me for?"
Yeah.
I didn't even bother this time. I just left him to it, and it's dodgy reception as well. So a lot of people were trying to send messages to people and having to wait until the top of a hill. And so yeah, I just rang him then, and that was nice. You know, although I didn't have any real down moments, when I was finding it hard, the biggest thing was wanting my kids to be proud. You know what I mean? So it was really nice to see them at the finish.
And were they proud? Or were they like my kids and like, have you got a snack?
Yeah.
No, they were. And they told me I stank.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I knew there'd be a comment. You know, they'd be like, well done, Mum. But
ooh-wee.
And Megan, the 10-year-old, she's been quite inspired actually by it. So they both did the Lakeland one.
Oh, brilliant.
And now she told me that one day she wants to do the Lakeland 50 and she thinks she might be able to one day.
Oh.
She's been out with us, I think, I'm trying to think what days. I think Thursday she went out with my husband for half an hour easy run.
Yeah.
And Saturday she came out with me for half an hour easy run. So yeah,
amazing, brilliant.
Look what you've done.
She's on it. She's like, how long before I can run a 5k? And I was like, well, you're not far off. You did nearly 2.5 miles, just steady.
How did you feel at the finish? You know, was a big sense of relief or achievement or just exhaustion? Was it what you imagined it to be?
It was, yeah. I got a bit tearful, which I thought I might do. So yeah, I was trying not to just go on full on blubbing. So I managed to restrain myself a bit. But it's lovely because what I didn't realise is they have a marshal waiting for every person, as it were.
Yeah.
They can take you through into the marquee and introduce you to anyone that's around so they can all cheer you after you come to the finish, which is amazing.
It's a wonderful finish. It is a really wonderful finish. I remember George, he kind of rugby tackled me as I got to the finish line. Were your children, did they get access to that area or was it after you kind of passed through?
Yeah, it was just after the finish line. Peter had them kind of almost facing the finish because as I went through, I was like, I can't see them. Where have they gone? And as I came slightly around the corner.
Looking back on it now, anything you'd do differently?
I don't know if there is actually. I mean, I just find that kind of terrain very tricky. I'm not very good at descending. I'm a bit of a wimp with anything that's too technical. So, the poles did help me keep moving. I think I would have struggled and probably would have fallen.
Yeah.
Otherwise, can't think of anything.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, as I say,
to race on something that you're constantly not comfortable on is huge kudos to you. You know, not experienced ultra runner. And to put yourself out there, not only challenge yourself in the distance, but also the training. It's exhausting to constantly be like putting your feet up and then bashing your toes and bashing your quads. So anything you do now on a slightly flatter or slightly easier terrain with that experience behind you, you'll be like, nothing's going to feel like that last descent.
Didn't even have any, my feet were absolutely fine, apart from just being a bit battered just from the terrain.
Yeah.
Someone described it as feeling like you've been walking over Lego all day.
What was your trainer of choice in the end?
The Scott Kinnabaloo Ultra.
See.
So and the Injinji socks. So yeah, I didn't even have any hot spots or anything. It was
Ooh.
nothing. I had one rub at the back, my lower back. I think it was just the sweat pouring down my back, but I just kept putting lube on that, and it was fine. It slightly dry and scabby for a couple of days, and then it was fine. But yeah, my lower back got a bit tight, which I expected. Yeah. And I say my quads. So by the time I'd like sat down and eat my finisher's meal of I think vegetable chili, I was like shuffling over to the showers. I could barely move.
The proper. Well, kudos to you having a shower so soon after. I'm like a 24-hour post-event shower person. Bryn, my husband's eventually like, "Are you going to have a shower?" I'm like, one, I can't be bothered, and two, I always have the worst chaffing in every area.
Yeah,
so I can't.
I think the thing that swung it was that we were staying for another week and a bit, including camping. Yeah. So I didn't really want to be getting into our tent on the bedding we use later in the week. The state.
Again, kudos for you. Gary and I'd have just crawled into there and been like.
Yeah, I'd have worried about the shower later, I think. And what was it like after, you've done the race? And I remember what it was like for me, hobbling around Ambleside in the local area, and people just being so lovely to you because they, knew what you'd done. How did you experience that?
Yeah, actually, when I saw you, a couple of people further along, the kids were playing in a stream, and a family walked past. I said, "Oh, did you do the Lakeland 50? Oh, hey. Wow, that's amazing!" And I was like, "Yeah." Yeah. So it wasn't that, because I had my finishers t-shirt on. I'd already at that point hand washed it and dried it so I could wear it again.
Yeah, when I saw you had the t-shirt on, I was like, "Oh, that's good." I was thinking to myself, I wonder if she's washed it, or was that a few days, a couple of days. Now, how's your recovery going? I have to say, you looked a bit sleepy when I saw you in Chester's. You looked a bit tired, but yeah,
I can't remember what day that was. Is it Monday? Maybe.
Monday. Yeah, bit of a blur, but
yeah, I was pretty knackered. I think, I felt my legs and just feeling really fatigued. Sort of Monday, Tuesday. I think by Wednesday I was feeling a lot better. Actually, we all slept quite well in a mixture of youth hostels and camping. Yeah. Say Wednesday, I think, because Tuesday we went to an infinity bridge. So and a mine tour at Honister. So that was amazing. But yeah, my legs weren't overly happy. So I think, by Wednesday I was a lot better. And I think it's Tuesday evening. I felt like I was going to get ill. Yeah. Or I could just feel it a bit in my chest. And I thought, but actually by the next day I was loads better. Although my lips are they're healing now, but almost immediately they erupted in cold sores. Yeah, that's a sign that I run down.
You went to the limit.
And would you do it again, or the 100?
I don't think I could do the 100. Yeah, I think the cutoff's quite tight, isn't it, for a lot of people? I just don't know if I could move myself quick enough on that terrain, because I'd have to qualify, get under 16 hours, and then, as I say, it's quite. I think it'd be a bit tight, and doing that kind of terrain for 100 miles. Saying that, though, I have entered the Summer Spine Challenger for next year.
That was my next question, even though I knew the answer. Yeah, what's up? Has this inspired you, and what's up next?
Well, the next race is the London Marathon. Hopefully that all goes ahead. I say I've had a deferral and then COVID, so I was supposed to run it in 2019. So eventually I'm going to hopefully get there. It almost feels like a bit of an afterthought now. When I did it, it was going to be the biggest thing I'd ever done, and it's like, I've done the Lakeland 50 now. So I'm going to get myself training for that. So I've got 2 months.
But how do you feel? I know after the Lakeland 100, when I did it, mentally, I was physically, I was wrecked for a while, but mentally I was destroyed for a long time and had no appetite for any type of training whatsoever. I don't think I'm fully recovered from it, to be honest, as far as my approach to putting myself into pain. How are you feeling about training for London?
I'm okay. I don't know at the moment. Obviously, I've only had a couple of easy runs. I suppose it's going to be different training, isn't it, from what I've been doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to see. It's going to be a bit strange because I'm going to have to. I think I might just look for a training plan and then jump into it at the right points.
The thing is, you've got a whole load of endurance in your body now that you didn't have before, and so you almost like can bank that, like Gary's been doing for the last 6 months, it seems. When you've done all your training, you just need to get back into. But there's no rush, as it's still very. I don't want to say raw, but it's, and as Gary said, you've got all that training, so that will come back quite quickly when you get back into training. But yeah, it's amazing how much these races mentally take out of you as well as physically, and you have to respect that. And social media is a dangerous place because you see people come back and you're like, oh, they're already winning, and there's not the backstory. There's not maybe that the stresses that you have in your life that other people don't have, etc., etc. So be super kind to yourself, and I would treat that next goal as like a cherry on the top of the cake of a year that's already amazing. You've achieved your A goal, and London can almost be like a a party atmosphere, and just enjoy it rather than though the Lakeland 50, I hope for you, training wasn't a slog. It was hard work to fit it all in, and perhaps this next block and this next race can be a little bit more of a relaxed, just go in and do what you can.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to look at it, really. So marathon then, and then late November, I've got a 2-day race in the Peak District.
She drops these things in, Gary, by the way. She'll be like, then I got another 2, then I'm going to do a 24-hour, and then I got this, and I got this. And
I think I've done that one. It's the South to North Peaks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very good one. It's a great one, that is.
So it's about, I think, 50k-ish on day one in the White Peak. First part is quite flat. And then the next part is
not flat. It's up.
Not flat.
No, it's basically. It must be.
It's relative.
Gradual uphill all the way, and then it goes a bit more kind of traily for the last bit. But yeah, great event.
I know that'd be interesting. It's the weather might be a bit spicier then.
Last question, and then we'll go on to our quick fives. Has finishing the Lakeland 50 changed your life?
I think it has. I mean, I'm bloody proud of myself for doing it. I think
we're bloody proud of you too. Excuse the swearing.
I think it's very easy to just think, if loads of people do it. It's almost easy to think it's a given that you finish it, but you do get plenty of people that drop out.
I've got the stats.
Sorry?
Keep talking. I've got the stats of the dropout.
Well, the only given is you've ended it. But that's when the work starts, really, is to kind of get yourself in a shape so you can get around it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think as well. I think it, like Eddie alluded to, it's been a really tough few months. We've had major issues with our daughter. She's got she's having major problems with sort of autism and ADHD, and she's had a permanent exclusion now from school, and that has been so stressful. It's been really hard, but in a way, the training has really helped because it's just given me something else to think about. Yeah. And a bit of a release for me. So it's not really affecting my training, apart from there's one session where I was having a real tough time, and I just started the session. I just thought I just can't do it. Yeah, my head just wasn't in it at all. But every other times, it's just been a nice release just to get out.
A nice release. She says that now. You should see what she's written in a plan, Gary. Well, let's finish with our quick fire questions. Do you want to do them, Gary?
Yeah, go on then. I'll do them. Right. Are you ready, Hannah? Drum roll. First one is, are you a sweet or savoury person?
Oh, sweet.
Sweet. You got Netflix on. You got a multiple choice of movies. Would you go for rom-com or action adventure movie?
Rom-com.
Rom-com. Now, your legs might be kind of forcing you to answer this question in a certain way, but if you could choose any type of running, would it be on the hills or would it be flat?
I think the hills, because you get to go down them again.
Know it.
Now, we know you work We know you're working out. Go on, Eddie, you do this one. Eddie's question.
You're at work. I'm going to set the scenario. I know we're terrible at these quick fire questions because they're not quick at all. You're at work. The door pings with the little bell. Ding, ding. What is your least favorite animal to come into the vet surgery?
Oh, probably wildlife.
Oh, good one. Any specific member of the wildlife family?
Well, I think
fox?
anything that's going to be potentially aggressive, like a badger.
Badger, yeah. I was going to say a badger.
They're not ones you want to be dealing with. I'm not very confident with things like birds. Although I did a claw clip on a parrot this morning. It's a very sweet parrot. He was chatty and he kept flying onto our shoulders. So that was nice.
Oh, I've got to ask, what's your favourite now? What's your favourite type of animal?
Oh, it's got to be puppies, isn't it?
Okay, it's got to be a
Gotta be
puppy.
puppies. Everyone thinks that's what we do in our job. We just cuddle puppies and kittens all day. So it is nice.
Yeah, that's all I think you do. Go to work, go running, cuddle the puppies, come home. Yeah. So it's really stressful, more puppies. Oh, sorry, Gary. Last one, Gary, sorry.
Last one. You're on a holiday. You're going to decide what you're going to do for your day. Would you relax on the beach or would you go and do a bungee jump?
I'm not sure about. I'm not very good on relaxing on the beach. Too hot. So it'd have to be a bungee jump. Oh God.
You could do the Via Ferrata at Honested. That could be something you do.
Yeah. Well, when our youngest is old enough, that's what we're going to do. So yeah, we did, as I say, the bridge, and then we went gill scrambling the other day as well.
Ooh, that sounds great. Some of that.
They loved it. Well, so did we actually. So yeah.
Was it cold?
It was. We had wetsuits on, so it's fine.
All right, cool, brilliant. That's it. I'm done. I'm out.
Hannah, thank you so much for very openly sharing your journey with us. It's been a real privilege to see you from the beginning to the end, and you have done everything heinous and wonderful that I've set you with such grace and good humor and such dedication. Wow. And we are so proud of you, but also we are so proud that you've inspired which was the whole aim of us setting this up in the start, was you've inspired not only people that are listening, but your family as well to run and to be active. And I'm sure there'll be lots of people listening that will be going, well, if Hannah can do this, so can I. Yeah. So thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you for telling us all about it. And we look forward to whatever you decide, well, the spine, but I'm sure there'll be other crazy things that you decide to do in the future and that you will tackle with just as much heart and gusto and full-on determination. So huge kudos from everyone at Run to the Hills, and good luck with your future endeavours.
And a little thought to John as well.
And a huge thought to John. I'm sure he was in your thoughts. Definitely. As your quads were crying.
Yes. Yeah, cheers, John.
Thanks for this, John. Thanks for picking me.
Well done, Hannah.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Eddie, for the training and sort of responding to the messages when I was like having a panic about something going wrong. So yeah,
absolute pleasure. It was a total pleasure. I absolutely loved it, and to see it finish in the way that it finished was it's the cherry on the top.
Yeah, it was awesome, and thanks for sharing some miles. The Ambleside to Coniston. That was great, Ricky. I really enjoyed that. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you for coming for that. So, all right, cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, didn't you do well, Eddie?
Super proud.
I hope you enjoyed that. I really did.
So we got Cape Wrath Ultra. It started. We are on day 2 as we're recording today. See, Sabrina Vijay is out there. She's not sure she's racing. Sally Fawcett for the ladies is in the lead at the moment. They've just finished day 2. Day 3, which is tomorrow. Big day. First time it's been in August, this race, rather than May, and a much smaller field, but it's great to see it back up and running, and we will let you know the results on the show next week.
Ordale Fell race this weekend too. Very popular race, 17 miles, 6,500 feet, starting to finish at the Scarf Fell Hotel. So That would be
Ooh,
great.
hotel rather than a village hall.
You do some big ones. You do Bessie Boot, Escorse, Scarfell Pike, Styhead, Stretcher Box, Great Gable, and a few others, Steelhead, Honester Hall. So yeah, some pretty,
Proper. That's proper. That's
that is
proper
gonna
mountain running,
I'd
that.
love to do that. Yeah, I should go over there. I love these fell races, but
Yeah. Not this year. You're done now. You're done now.
Yeah, resting now.
We've got Centurion North Downs Way 100 this weekend. Starts in Farnham, finishes in Ashford, follows the North Downs Way. Weather looks a little unfavourable, perhaps, a bit windy, a bit wet, but I think for these hundreds, that's almost better, isn't it? A bit of English weather rather than the heat.
Oh, you don't want to be roasted, my goodness me.
You don't want to be roasting in 100 mile. Best of luck to the runners out there. We will again let you know how that plays out next week.
And the last one I saw was the Salt Cellar Fell Race. Now that's going to be on Friday. I love these fell races. I know there's a waiting list for this, so don't turn up and think you're going to get a start. But quite often not. You can just rock up, pay somebody who's usually sitting in a car or something like that with the window wound down, and then off you go. And this one, £10, will get you 7 miles and 1,500 feet of elevation. So hope everyone has a great race there tonight.
Right, what you got coming up, Gaza? I know you're going to get a little bit back into running.
Yeah, well, I'm off to Edinburgh for a few days with the family. I think it's Sunday. Everything's a bit of a blur over the summer holidays.
Bit of a holiday?
Yeah.
A bit of working as well?
No. Well, it's always a busman's holiday because I'll have me blooming GoPro with me, and I'll be kind of think I'm going to go up to Arthur's Seat, do a little run up there, film that, and I'm trying to talk Lisa into coming with me too. So might see Lisa on the YouTube channel. We'll see how that goes. And then, trying to get a bit more focus and structure into the running, the nutrition, the sleep, and things like that.
How do you go about that? Because it's quite specific. Well, it's quite a specific way I go about getting people those few weeks back after you've had your big event, you've had a bit of time off, you've perhaps started jogging again. Then what do you do next to sort of ease yourself?
Oh, wow. Well, I just try to get my routines back. I used to be quite good at getting up early, doing the dog and getting to work early, and that's, especially with the small days, that slipped. So that'll be just the habits that I used to do previously. So I'll be going to bed early. That's the first thing I always try and do. And just improving my diets, eating better quality food instead of peanut M&Ms and Stella Artois, stuff like that.
It's a heady combination.
Yeah.
What, for breakfast?
Yeah. Straight out of bed into just a bit of maintenance, a bit of tidying up. Really, nothing too drastic.
I like that, a bit tidying up. Yeah,
that's all it is. And but yeah, Valencia training starts in 2 weeks, so we got Edinburgh this weekend, so I'm going to enjoy that. And then just a bit more focus. That's all it needs. I don't know about you, but it is great when you are relaxing, but you do know when you've had enough of it too. It's time to kind of close that door and move on.
Love it.
What about you?
I got another race all for the podcast. So
I don't want any navigation stories, any illness stories.
So my mates were like, ha, joke. At least you're not going to get lost on this one, Eddie. This one goes past my front door. 40K, 3,600 meters. A lot of climbing, but I know every inch of the trails. So really nice in some ways, but also like, you climb up every bit and you're like, oh God, I've got this bit to go. Not rather than the unexpected. There's like, I know every step of this, but that's cool. All my trails that I've done all my training on, skied up, skied down, run up, run down. Basically, it loops them all together. We start in Morzine, just down the road from us, and then we go round. It's basically sort of like a reverse horseshoe around all the big climbs, and we finish in Avorius at 2,500 meters. Yeah. So you don't get the descent, unfortunately. Yeah. So it is a lot of up, not a huge amount of running. So it's just good practice for me to keep practicing, working on that effort into the climbs. How hard can you work without dying? And practicing my descending under pressure. It's going to be dry, fingers crossed. Yeah. Sun might shine, and I will enjoy the ease of just being able to literally roll out of bed, eat my pre-race toast, down the hill, I'll know everybody at the checkpoints. Mates will be out, and give it a good. So I'm going to have I'm going to do my same taper week. I've done 2 weeks. I'm going to do it again. It works. And I'll do that again, leading it more focus, a bit more on recovery, because I am a little, even though yesterday wasn't huge, you have to respect that, like, race effort is big. Yeah. So much bigger. I don't know about you, but I try so much harder in a race than I do in my general day to day. So respect that and try in 5 days to get the legs back working. And then after that, and then I'm going to be able to do it, because all the way around I'm going to have I'm like, after this, it's chill out time. So just probably how you were feeling a few weeks ago, get this done, do well, tick all those boxes. And then you can have a few weeks not worrying about races and stuff. And then I'm going to go into a bit more, I'm going to go back into like a bit of a base volume. Once the kids go, I'll have sort of like a couple of weeks rest. Well, I'm not going to rest. No, I'm going to still do some running and biking, but without the sort of pressure of a race. And then the kids will go back to school. And then September around here is so beautiful to run. And I'm going to do some big volume weeks heading into, well, I don't know about a London Marathon, because I'm not sure I'm going to be allowed into England. But heading into some longer distance races, which I'm gagging for, because honestly, 30, 40K, I'm only just starting to get the sweat on. I need another 200K at least.
A long way.
So we'll see. And you can all wait until to hear the big bag of excuses I'll bring to the podcast next week on why it was.
How was everyone in the Sutton household? Have we got anyone poorly?
We're not having any of it, Gary. We're not having any of it this week. There's absolutely no. There's no crying. There's no whining. There's no snot. There's no sickness. They're just going to crack the egg open on the trampoline all week, and I'm just going to try and
like a French game. I've never heard of this before.
Do you want to know the game? Well, one of them lies in the egg-shaped position, and the other two bounce until the person is so frightened they come out of that position. And that is the game. I think it could be in the Olympics. I don't know. We'll see. We'll put it to the committee, see what I think. Talking of the Olympics, last thing, and then I'll let you go. You've been watching?
I've been, a bit more than I was previously. So it's been great, actually. Enjoyed it. Bit of BMX action, that was good. And I did you see the triathlon relay?
Oh, it was toasty, wasn't it?
Love that.
I mean, what I've really thought about, what I wanted to mention on the podcast was, like, I love it when athletes perform under pressure. Like, can you, like the couple of little performances, like the trampolining, when she stepped up and it's like, you have like 30 seconds to perform this routine. You cannot make a single error. If you do, you're not going to win a medal. And the whole world is watching you. And the same with like the gymnastics and the BMX, when she had to do, I don't know what it was, double flip, lemon curd, super scoop thing that had never been performed before. And she missed her first landing, and then she stepped up and she did it again. I'm like, that is like, to me, that is sport, whatever the sport is, because loads of people are like, oh, why is that in the Olympics? Dancing on horses and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but the Olympics it's almost, you need to look beyond the sport and look at how amazing these people perform under. They're like, not just what they're doing sport-wise, which is incredible athletic feat, but that pressure of being able to perform under the spotlight. And
I do have an opinion, though, on the events that are in the Olympics now, that I'd like to think that whatever the sport was, the Olympics was the pinnacle of that event. And some of the sports that are in there might not be that for those athletes. Say football, for example. I imagine they might want to win the World Cup more than the Olympics or the Champions League, or whatever it is. So that, that's my own little 5 pence, whatever it's worth. But
I think it's the exposure of the sports as well, though, because there might be countries that get to play football at the Olympics that wouldn't get to play it at some of the big tournaments because they wouldn't qualify. Same like the female sport, they get to play it. And I think that's why they've like tried to put like BMX and skateboarding in, to open it up to a wider range of people that are otherwise wouldn't be able to to be fed into sport, and also then to inspire generations, because I bet everybody's kids that has been watching the BMX, the skateboarding, anything that involves danger and death, like Crack the Egg game, kids want to have a go. But I find it so inspirational, and I try and think of some of that pressure when I get like uptight about my tiny trail races and trying to perform. Like, just think, you know, you're not on the world stage trying to win an Olympic medal, but try and harness that, like the cool, calm, collected approach to life, to parenting.
My daughter asked a question. Is there a lower age limit for competing in the Olympics? I didn't know the answer.
We saw Tom Daley when he was 12, didn't we? And there's a skateboarder, Sky, who's 13. So I guess a lot of sports have, like, you can't do the full adult version of the sport until you're a certain age, but and I guess they have to have chaperones when they're that age as well. But I love it. I love it. All cycling's about to start. Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the marathon though. It'll be good.
When is the marathon?
It's the last day, isn't it? It's the last.
Oh, okay, yes.
They do the ladies on the day before, whatever day it is, and then the men on the finish. I wonder if Kipchoge can take gold.
Have you followed the story at all about the American gymnast who withdrew because of mental health issues?
Well, I listened to a bit of it on, they talk about on the New York Daily podcast, which I listened to. And I don't think it's as straightforward as mental health issues. I think there's other stuff that's going on in the USA gymnastics scene. I don't know anything about it, so I don't really want to comment and get myself in trouble.
No, I just felt that it was really good. I thought, because we'd had Ross on the week before, and he's been quite open on Facebook this week about saying he's been, I've had to take some days off work because I haven't felt quite right. And her saying, I can't compete because I can't focus because I've got this barrage of pressure, and she's received good criticism and other bad criticism. Yeah, we can't comment because we don't know any of the details, but I always think, again, how inspirational that is, of how brave these people are that can speak up and say, hold their hand up and go, I don't feel right, and I'm going to say I don't feel right, and I'm going to step back, rather than ploughing on, because it's the Olympics and life is still not normal as it is. So
we can all take a lesson from that. Yeah, if you're not
take
happy with the situation, take yourself out of it.
Yes, can I do that this week when I don't really want to look after my children and I want to go to bed? Can I just take
just have a cardboard cutout of Eddie?
Oh, I'd come down and they'd have like drawn all over it and like, Mum, we've made a game up. It would be their game. Basically, we've thrown stuff at your head for like 3 hours and look what happened. Oh, I say that. I love them dearly. Right. Get back into running. Have a nice blowout in Edinburgh.
Well, good luck, Eddie. Hope it goes well. I'll be checking the Strava. See what's Saturday, isn't it?
It's Saturday. Pray for Eddie. Let's have a good race, Eddie. Come on. If not, I'll be able to tell you all about it next week.
Can't wait. That was episode 49. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you to all our listeners who tune into the show. Thanks to our sponsor, Chia Charge 2. My name's Gary Thwaites.
I'm Eddie Sutton.
And let's run to the hills.